Good evening. Welcome to the last live edition of Last World Boxing before Christmas. I think Darren might be a bar humbug, but we'll soon find out.
No, I'm not.
So joined by Ander. Good evening, Ander.
Merry Christmas, pal.
Merry Christmas. And Daz. Good evening, Darren.
All right, pal. You all right?
All good, living the dream. So there's only one place to talk about this weekend, and that's a Day of Reckoning card. Hold on.
Sorry, lads. Yeah, absolutely, it's the right place to start. I mean, it's easily the card of the year, and maybe a lot of people are saying the best card ever. It's certainly very strong. Maybe the best card ever is a bit steep, but it's very packed into it. There's a lot of egos flying around over there at the minute in Riyadh. It's an absolute dream for social media, put it like that. They must be getting absolutely boatloads of content because they're not even having to work for it. Stand in corridors and they're getting arguments between fighters. Daz, I'll come to you first, mate. This is obviously the first time you've had Eddie Hearn and Frank Warren sat at a top table getting on to build one card. Obviously, money talks, because it certainly won't be happening with them two at a top table in the UK. There's been a little bit of niggle between certain fighters that work for one promotion and the commentary team, if you want to put it, or the presentation team for the other promotion. I just want to get your thoughts on what you feel about that.
We're talking excuse me, AJ and Dev.
Well, that's kind of the main one, yeah.
I think AJ, I don't know, mate. He just shut him down, didn't he? Like proper shut him. And do you know what, mate? I sort of understand why. Because
remember, he's been slagging him off, Daz, hasn't he? Left, right,
yeah, that's what I was just going to come to. The guy who's never stepped foot in a ring in his life is, said some not very nice things about AJ. And then he's sat in front of him, stood in front of him, being all and expecting the guy to, first and foremost, no matter what, we think of AJ as a fighter.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And to have someone question his abilities, etc., who's never been in there, and I'll be totally honest with you, mate, he's very annoying.
You know what? This was always going to be a problem when a massive card got made with the money maker on the card being AJ for Matchroom. It was always going to be a problem because no matter what you say, Matchroom don't like Queensberry's fighters. Queensberry don't like Matchroom's fighters. They always try to put each other down. They're always going to be slightly negative towards each other because they're trying to build fighters on their own promotion. Yeah, that's all well and good. That's all well and good, Daz. Makes the stories, makes red lines, makes it entertaining. But the problem then you've then got is this situation where one promoter in Queensberry are kind of the main promoter for the show, yet the headliner for the show is a Matchroom fighter.
I think it's adding to it. I don't think it's a problem at all. I think it's adding to it, mate.
Well, it's very new, isn't it? It's very new.
Yeah, I'll be honest.
Yeah,
I'll be honest. I were quite. I found myself laughing when
it's very interesting. It's really interesting. Don't get me wrong.
AJ. To be fair to AJ, though, mate, it wasn't over. He wasn't overly friendly with Dev, but he wasn't overly friendly with Darren Barker either.
He can't win, Daz, can he? Because if he's too friendly, we all say that the spark's gone out of his game and that, he hasn't got that killer instinct.
Yeah, he wasn't overly friendly with any of them.
Well, when he does look locked in, like he looked locked into fight mode to me.
He's got an attitude problem.
Fans still aren't upper.
Yeah, and Andy Clark made a point, didn't he, of saying you come across as being much more friendly the day before, but now it's getting closer to fight night
Of course. Yeah.
You're quite spiky and on edge. Well, why shouldn't you be?
Exactly. Listen, I hope it all leads to an absolutely devastating performance from him.
Yeah,
I really do, because he's got it in him. I mean, Walling, you know, I don't know, mate. Walling's not striking me as overly confident, to be fair.
see,
Yeah, I think it just shows you what a pound note can do, can't it? When in terms of getting the 2 promotions, to forget all the
massively, mate. Massively, yeah. And it's a
make it happen,
shame,
haven't it? Because
Yeah,
you
it's
don't
a
make
shame.
it happen, you get left behind. Let's have it right.
mate. The only gripe I've got with things like this is amount of times that they have to thank His Excellency.
Yeah.
I mean, you know,
yeah, the sucking up's dreadful.
yeah. I mean, come on,
And that's exactly what it is.
Yeah, I mean, Dev did it today at press conference. You know, I think he said, "Oh, let's take a minute to."
We'll all do it. We'll all do it.
Yeah, mate. I'm not. Listen,
Not to that level. I won't.
I don't
Carl.
think
Yeah,
I'd
you would. If it's in the
I don't think
contract,
I
you
would, mate. I think saying thank you is enough. You don't have to keep doing it. It's like you're like a little child with a bowl begging for more, aren't you?
Well, that's exactly what they are, aren't they? Because you know, obviously they've already sorting out the next year's Riyadh season with Frank Warren dropping in time and time again. The winners are going to be an even bigger fight. So you just want to.
Yeah, I was just gonna say. Matt said it in comments. It's a shame it's taken Saudi money to do it.
Yeah. The thing for me is we're talking about this and it's being built up as the biggest card ever. It's going to be in front of a dead audience, mate.
But here's a scenario then. Would you rather these fights happen with Saudi money? Because it's the only place where it can happen. And let's have it right. They're going to start going down the weights, aren't they?
Yeah.
Or would you rather them not happen?
Of course. We've been complaining for years and years and years, especially the last 2 years, that massive fights are not happening.
No,
so
we've got to suck it up then, right?
Yeah, of course, mate. Of course. It's just a shame that somehow you can't get these fighters to want to fight and not having to make £50 million doing it every fight.
I wonder what's left for the rest of us, as in the Vegases and the Wembley and Texas. I wonder what sort of fights we're going to get going forward.
You're not going to get. Very simple, mate. You're not going to get heavyweight world titles being contended unless they get split up. And then Vegas might get a few, but while it's the way it is,
I think this is the start of a takeover. I think they'll concentrate on other weights as well because they're going to run out of fights at the heavyweight in terms of marquee fights.
I don't think this move though is great for women's boxing.
No, it's not, because it changes the dynamic of women's boxing. The fact that they have to completely cover up to fight. It's not right. It's not right.
No, it's not great for women's boxing.
The Saudis come across as trying to want to be engaging with every dynamic in popularity, but it don't really. You know, when you kind of open your eyes to it a little bit, that ain't the case.
Yeah. I'm just going to put his comment up on the side, Andy. So, Richard Wolf, good evening, Richard. Welcome back.
All right, pal.
As Paul, at least being in Saudi, we are watching these fights at a reasonable time, not having to wait up until 4 or 5 o'clock.
There was something good though about waiting up, though, weren't there? You know
what I mean? Added to the.
There was something special about waiting up.
When we were all younger,
waiting up to watch Mayweather, waiting up to watch De La Hoya, waiting up Chavez. You know what I mean?
Tyson. Yeah, that's right. It ruins you on the Sunday, doesn't it? It ruins.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I tell you what, lads. I got to admit, I really struggle now to stay up for the old card.
Yeah. Mate, I record it. I literally pay, right? If it's pay-per-view and they're on at 4 or 5 in the morning, and I want to watch the fight, I literally pay for the privilege of being able to go to sleep and watch it recorded.
Yeah, I've heard Andy struggles to keep it up, but let's get back to
that. I tell you what though, I know a lot of people, I mean, going back to this card, a lot of people are like saying, oh, it's the greatest card ever. It's nowhere near the greatest card ever.
No, they're obviously pushing it to be.
Listen, to me, right, there's 2 fights on it I want to watch. That's it. I want to watch Parker and Wilder, Joshua and Walling. Right?
What about Bivol?
Yeah, we're just going to get, and I want to watch Bivol. Right, so obviously it's 3.
Actually, I've got to add Dubois and Miller into that, just for the circus side of things.
Yeah, I probably will watch that just because I want Daniel to absolutely send him into the next realm.
Yeah,
if I'm,
I like the fact that Dubois has been coming out and giving it a little bit today in the press conference.
Yeah.
I like
it.
I mean, very pleased, don't get me wrong, but I did like it.
Let's be fair, Miller shouldn't be there, should he?
Lads, what we're going to do is switch it up a little bit. We normally start with the bottom end of the card and work up. I'm going to change it around today.
Oh, you know.
I know. Living on the edge, mate.
On the
edge. So we're going to start straight at the very top. Anthony Joshua, Otto Wallin. Cole, first and foremost, break this down for me. Otto Wallin is 26-1. He's only lost to Tyson Fury. Last time out, he got a. Oh, hello.
Yeah,
last time out, he got a split decision against against a blown up cruiserweight. And if you look at his record, he ain't that impressive. Are they making him? I know he's a tough southpaw, but are they making him out to be for this to be harder than it actually is for Joshua?
Well, I think Tyson Fury went in undermotivated against him, so I think that
got that cut as well, didn't he? That cut changed things.
Yeah.
So I don't take too much away from that. I think it's all on AJ because I'm hoping we see that aggressive AJ. Ben Davison is more. I like him for his aggressive style. I'm hoping if Joshua comes out and puts it on him earlier, then I'm thinking he can get him out of there by round 5. So I'm expecting Joshua. There's a lot on the line here, isn't there? Because it's a long, long way back if Joshua gets beat here. You know, and he's got that big fight dangling regarding Wilder. He'll keep saying he's not got that in mind, but he has. Because I understand that contract's a done deal in March. So I hope AJ goes out and puts a bit of a show on. I don't think you'll see that cagey AJ that we've seen previously. I think he'll go out and stop him by that. I don't think Wallin sees round 5.
Daz, what's your take?
Pretty much same, mate. I just don't think anything other than a demolition job is good enough. If he comes out and he's cautious and it goes 9-10, whatever, it's not going to whet appetite, is it, for Wilder? You know, if he comes out and does a demolition job, which I think he will, I'm not overly impressed by Wallin at all. The Fury fight, yeah, Fury probably were a bit undermotivated, and also the cut changed things. I mean, it's probably one of the worst cuts I've seen.
Yeah,
you could argue he should have been stopped.
Yeah,
well, Fury else gets stopped.
Yeah, Fury was very lucky. Wanted the fight
stopped.
carried on.
Yeah, anyone else it gets stopped. And it were a non-title fight as well. So, you know, how it were allowed to carry on, I don't know. But I just don't think he's that great. And I do think they're hyping him up a little. He's got a decent record. He did a decent account of himself with Fury. And I think people are like making him to be something he's not. So when hopefully Joshua blitzes him, AJ's back. That's going to be the headline. So I hope, because I like Anthony, I really do. I think, you know, he gets a lot of.
But he's going to go down the IBF route, right, Daz? He's going to go down the IBF route and fight Hrgovic. Is my prediction.
Who's that, Joshua?
Yeah, I know they're saying the contract. Or will he step aside and let Wilder and Joshua fight for the IBF? I don't know.
Well, apparently they're agreeing it, aren't they? Next year, March, first one, 2 fights, Joshua and Wilder.
Yeah.
First one next year. I
mean,
mean,
Hrgovic stands aside and picks a few quid up, right? And picks up the winner.
Yeah, you'd think so. I mean, I personally think my thing for it is Joshua's going to be aggressive. But I think he's going to be aggressive behind a solid jab, but I think he's going to put a lot more behind that jab. It's not going to be a single jab. He's going to follow it with right hands, left hooks, and then step in and go again.
I think I agree. I think you're going to see a much more dynamic Anthony Joshua. They've been working on just looking at the pad work that he's been doing. They're working on combinations. He's on the old AJ of throwing 5 and 6 shots at a time.
Yeah,
that's what.
Sorry, Andy. I was watching his. I was watching his fight with Dillian White the other day, and I think it's a case that sort of attitude, but a bit more control.
Yeah,
and I think that's what we're going to see. A bit more control.
I don't think we know what we're going to see. If we're really honest, we don't quite know what we're going to see, do we? Let's be honest.
Listen, I'm pretty confident that he's going to come out and he's going to be a front foot aggressive and let him feel what he's about. And I agree with you, mate. I don't think he's going to see 6. I think he's either going to end up flat on his back or with some sort of injury. I think. Everyone
that's listening to the show live and in the sidebar, let's have your opinions on Anthony Joshua against Wallin then, and we'll move down the card. You give us your opinions on them as well.
Yeah, I'd like to have more opinions than Matt Nash's because he knows nothing. So let's have some proper boxing.
So Matt's obviously asking, do we think we'll see anything notably different with AJ under Ben Davison? So Ben Davison and his team are masters at pulling out brilliant game plans, as we know. I think he'll just get AJ believing a bit more, believing in his jab, because that's the key for AJ. And that jab's not been what it used to be in recent fights. Lay that jab in, and then he's on you, and then the combinations get thrown. If he fights like that, this could be a very early night. I agree with you guys though. I think that the Tyson Fury fight has gave Otto Wallin a name that he don't deserve. Fury had just come back from that massive weight loss, and I agree with Carl. He went into that fight thinking it was going to be an easy tick over. He got that big cut, and then it changed everything, and then he was scrambling for the rest of the fight. Put Wallin in with Fury now, and it gets done quick.
Good evening, SWS Boxing. Feel free to jump on. If you want to jump on, I'll post a link. Just let me know.
Same goes for anybody else in the sidebar. If you fancy it, let us know.
From Matt Nash.
If you fancy it, let us know. We don't bite, honestly. Maybe between ourselves, but we're very welcoming. Right, my opinion is very similar to you guys, to be honest with you. I think AJ deals with this as and when he wants to. I think the occasion might overwhelm Wallin a little bit. I know he's been in with Fury, but the occasion's completely different to that fight. And I think it might overwhelm him a little bit.
Great opportunity for him, though, right?
It is a massive opportunity, mate. And looking at the way he goes in and about his work, he tries to rough fighters up. That might just play into AJ's hands. I see a mid-round stoppage as well.
We're going to see what AJ's got left, I believe, in this fight. We're going to see what he's got left. Does he still belong at the top table? That's what we're going to get answered, I think.
Yeah, well, I think it's all down to what he's been able to work on. It's only been a couple of months with Ben Davison. It's going to be interesting to see how he takes that in, but he's definitely a lot more focused, very serious in the build-up, and I think that's a good thing.
Yeah, Matt, I'll take my medicine. I did pick Conlan to beat Gill. Good of you to pick out the one thing that I've got wrong in about the year. I'll be 2 minutes of glory. Okay, guys, moving down the card to the potential opponent for Anthony Joshua if they both come through this fight. That's Deontay Wilder. Like Daz has already said, there's rumours those two fights might already be signed. If that's the case, it makes it even more important, even more dangerous. Joseph Parker, by the way, is in probably the best shape I've ever seen in his career. He's taking this very seriously. He's the one playing devil's advocate a little bit here. He's the one that's active. Wilder's fought once in a year, and that was a 1 minute fight, and then he's not fought again for another year. So in reality, he's not fought for 2 years against anyone with a pulse. The only thing that worries me about Parker is he's not hard to find, is it?
Right. So that was going to be my opinion. I'll let you guys go with it first. So, Carl, as you were just alluding to,
I like Joe Parker, and I genuinely hope he beats Wilder. I do. But I worry for him because he isn't the most mobile, and he likes to put his gloves up and come walking forward. He's not difficult to find, so I can't believe that Wilder ain't going to find him during this fight.
Yeah.
And although he can bang enough to get a bit of respect, he ain't the biggest of punchers either. So I think it's just a matter of time before Wilder finds him with that right hand, and it'll be good night at Vienna. So I'm expecting it. I think he might go a little bit. I think he might go to round 7, but I think Parker's going to get knocked out, unfortunately.
Does?
I think he gets taken out inside 6. I think both heavyweight fights end inside 6 rounds for me. Like Carl said, he's not hard to hit. I don't see what he can do different. And like I said, I just think Wilder's gonna spark him out. I won't be surprised if Wilder don't take him out in first.
He's a little bit tailored for him, and he does. He's a little bit tailored for Wilder.
Yeah, I mean, like I say, I won't be surprised at seeing Wilder knock him out in first. I'm totally honest.
So I just pick up Matt Nash's comments, and Matt said, I think Parker boxes really well for 6 to 8 rounds and then gets wiped out. You just can't see Wilder not winning by KO.
The thing with Wilder is, and we've said it for as long as we've been on this show, it only takes 1 second. He's got that dynamite right hand. The thing that the fighters need to do with Wilder, and it's easier said than done when he's as big as he is and he has the levers that he has, is you need to get inside and you need to push him back because he cannot fight on the back foot.
Yeah, a little bit now. They're into what? How old is that? 38, 39.
38 Wilder. I think Parker's 33, is it? 32,
So,
33.
We'll have a say sooner or later.
I think you'll see Parker having a bit of success. The problem is he's got to be gutsy, and he's got to be willing to risk taking a shot. Easier said than done against one of the biggest punchers of all time, but that's the only way he's got a chance of having success in the fight. Because if you look at the reach of the two fighters, he can't stand outside and box.
Yeah,
Wilder,
he ain't 6'9" like Fury, is it?
Wilder. The thing with Wilder is he's got this ability of being massively out of range, and because of his style and the way he jumps in with a shot, he's not your typical boxer, is it? He doesn't throw shots like a boxer, so he's massively out of range. And when he throws a shot, he's off balance, but he gets in range very quick, and he doesn't give an opponent a chance to get out of the way. So you have to try and take that away from him somehow. And Parker's only chance of doing that is getting close, get on his chest, try and push him back. But inevitably, at some point or another in the fight, Parker just doesn't have good enough movement to stay out of the way for
not many will.
For
not
12
many
rounds.
will
No, that's right.
Not many will.
No, that's right. That's right. I mean, Parker's durable, don't get me wrong. But, yeah, there's no chance he deals with Wilder's power, I'm afraid.
So SWS Boxing thinks Wilder by KO.
I think we all agree. Wilder by KO. Moving on to a fight that I completely forgot was on this card, lads. All the noise has been about Joshua and Wilder and the antics of Gerald Miller. Dimitri Bivol's gone completely under the radar. He's just going like he does, very professional, going about his business. I actually think this is a very interesting fight because Lyndon Arthur's no pushover. This is obviously no, I know that, but this is obviously for the WBA, which is Bivol's belt, and the IBO, which is Lyndon's belt. 12 rounder. I mean, we've seen how good Bivol is. We've seen his IQ. I know you've got a lot of respect for Lyndon Arthur and his style and his trainer. Tell me a little bit about what you think, how he can go about this fight, what sort of chance he's got.
Listen, I don't like saying it, but I don't think he's got a great chance at all. I think think it's just, Bivell's elite.
Yeah.
And Lyndon's a very good fighter, but Lyndon's best attribute is his jab. His jab's fantastic. However, Bivell will take that away from him. I think he'll probably couple two or three rounds and figure him and just work him out, position him where he wants, and I think he'll just take that away from him. I think he's just too good, and I don't. I'd love Lyndon to win. I really would. I'd love him to win, but I just think Bivell gradually grinds him down and stops him late.
You think he stops him?
Late on, yeah. I think he stops him late.
Cole, do you agree with that? Bivell's not known. Bivell's not known for being a big puncher. He has a 50% KO ratio. He doesn't have to be a big puncher because he wins fights very comfortably, just boxing, right?
Yeah, I think this is a mismatch. I'd go as strong to say a mismatch. The only thing I would say is Lyndon Arthur, props to him for taking the fight, because by all accounts he offered it to a lot of people and some well-known names who turned it down. So, shot to nothing for Lyndon Arthur. Cup final, that scenario. Go in and give it your best shot, but I just think he's going to fall way short. I don't think Bivell will stop him. I think it's just going to be a very one-sided fight that goes to points.
I think I'm not saying Bivell's going to leave him flat on his back. I think it might be a case he probably takes too much punishment and Pat pulls him out. If he's not won a round and he's taking heavy, taking shots going into 10th, I think he'll pull him out. Could be one of them.
Yeah, I don't see that happening, Daz. Only because Bivell only does what he needs to do. He doesn't put it on people. Craig
Richards is a great example.
Yeah, he doesn't put it on people. He does what he needs to do.
Could have learned from that, though.
I doubt it, mate. I doubt it. I mean, you look at him against Canelo. He did what he needed to do.
Do you not think if you're doing that though, that you're flirting with disaster? If that's I mean, if he thinks, I'm sure Bivell, if he thinks, listen, if I throw a few more shots around, I could probably get him out of there.
Yeah, but then you throw. I think the Bivell's mindset is the more shots I throw, the more punch range, the more chance I've got of somebody landing on me. That's his style, I think. I think he does enough.
I think you'll put an absolute clinic on because there's levels to this game, and with all due respect to Lyndon, is a good fighter, but he ain't elite. He ain't nowhere near Bivell's standard.
Okay, don't sit on the fence, will you, Carl?
No. SWS Boxing said Bivell in 7.
Seems quite unanimous. We all think Bivell's going to win in one form or another. This one's really interesting just because of what's going on surrounding it. So Jai Opetaia versus Ellis Zorro. Obviously, everyone will know that Jai Opetaia has vacated the IBF belt because he wanted to defend his belt as a world champion against Ellis Zorro. Everybody agreed. Both camps agreed, both promoters agreed, and even mandatory Breedis agreed to step aside.
Yeah.
But for whatever reason, the IBF, in their wisdom, said no, you're not defending it against him. So Jai Opetaia's gone, well, okay then, I'll drop my belt. It's an absolutely disgraceful decision by the IBF. Daz, can you make any head or tail as to why they've done this?
I'll tell you what, mate. Let's say it as it is. It's a disgraceful fight.
Maybe, right?
Yeah. Listen, there's no. I get what you're saying about the IBF, right? There's just no consistency with them. There's just no consistency, and that's why we get these debates with, like you say, why have they done this when they'll let other champions defend against whoever? That's why we're saying, that's why we're having this conversation at IBF. But let's say it right. This is a disgraceful fight. This is like, what is going on here?
Fair enough, right? I agree with you. I think disgraceful's a little bit harsh.
Mate, no, why though? What has Ellis Zorro done to deserve to be in with the best cruiserweight in the world?
I'm not saying he's. I'm not
the best cruiserweight in the country.
No, of course he's not. Of course he's not. But when your mandatory is not ready, and it's a voluntary, that's what voluntary means. You pick who you want to pick.
Yeah, but could they have not picked anyone more deserving? Anyone better?
Maybe, but you got. I mean, why has nobody else stepped up then? Why has no one higher up in the rankings stepped up? You can't tell me that they wouldn't have wanted to make a better fight if they could.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't believe that for 1 second. Jaya Pate don't seem like the sort of fighter that ducks fighters.
No, definitely not. But I don't know, mate. I don't know. I really. So
I mean, end of the day, the fight got made, right? You've seen world champions fight worse fighters than Ellis Zorro. So the fact of the matter is the fight's been made. But the sanctioning body, the IBF, have decided that it's not worthy of a world title shot. But if you look at the sort of antics that the IBF pulled down the years, stripping Tyson Fury a day after he's dethroned Klitschko as a prime example, they got history of making ridiculously bad decisions.
Yeah, and it varies from fighter to fighter. That's why we're having this conversation. If this fight had been a 10 round non-title fight, we'd have still been saying it's a painful night for Zorro. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, of course. No, of course, mate.
It doesn't deserve a shot at a world title. So
no.
I'm finding it hard to disagree with IBF's stance on this. However, IBF need to read from the same rule book for everybody.
Yeah, exactly that.
So
that's the point, and that's why Jai's acting the way he's acting.
Yeah, which fair enough.
It's a career high payday as well.
Yeah, they get on the IBF stand on the moral high ground when it suits them, don't they? Do you know what I mean? So it's a lot of inconsistency from him. And listen, I thought
blame Jai for taking the fight. Like I said, there's a lot of money on the line. Why, just relinquish the belt?
Oh, listen, let's be honest. He's getting a career high payday for probably one of his easiest fights. So
now the IBF are in a position where the belt's vacant. Breedis is going to be fighting God knows who for it. They're not going to get the amount of money off the fight with Breedis that he would have been getting for this. I just don't understand where they're at. It makes no sense.
Depending who you listen to, he tried to get that fight sorted for this card, Breedis, but he priced himself out the fight. So,
yeah. I mean, listen, let's be honest. Can you imagine what this card? I mean, listen, I'm living in dreamland here, lads. But can you imagine if this card had been Wilder, Parker, Joshua, Wallin, and then we'd have had Apataya, Breedis, and let's chuck another random in. Let's have Bivol and Beterbiev, yeah.
Although Callum Smith might have something to say about that.
Yeah.
I hear what you're saying, mate. I do. I hear what you're saying, but when you've got a fighter like Breedis who likes running around in Super Mario outfits and getting Jake Paul's name tattooed on him and stupid, ridiculous stuff like that to try and make a name for himself, well, make a name for yourself by fighting the best then, mate. Don't price yourself out of the fight because you don't want it.
Yeah.
Sat in the mandatory position and be quite happy to step aside for Ellis Zorro to get, his Rocky moment.
Yeah, 1,000,000%.
It just it makes you wonder what the politics are here. Are the IBF wanting Opetaya to pull out of the fight because they want Breedis as the champion?
I don't know, mate. I just think that when they enforce rules and moral high ground when it suits, and whereas you should do it you should read from the same rule book for everybody.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, look at Cordina. What they did with Cordina.
Oh, ridiculous, mate. Gets an hand injury and gets stripped.
Then Ebony had an hand injury, and she weren't stripped.
Makes no sense. The way they go about it, mate, makes no sense. It's as though they just they favour a name, somebody that brings different eyes to their platform. I don't know, mate. I just don't. I don't know. I don't get it. I'll never get it with them because they're not consistent, like you just said. Moving on to what is a very intriguing fight, probably the third most intriguing fight on the card. Daniel Dubois against the drug cheat himself, Jarrell Miller. Who should be, by the way, absolutely nowhere near this show. It's disgraceful. This is my opinion, not Last Bell Boxes, by the way. It's disgraceful. These two promoters have booked this bum to fight on this card. I'm surprised when he was bouncing around the ring earlier on, he went rattling. How he's come in clean for the last month, God only knows. Must be using a brilliant masking agent. That's all I've got to say. He's an absolute disgrace. He should be banned from boxing for life. But unfortunately, the two promoters think it's wise to put him on this massive show. I think it's absolutely dreadful and something that's not being said by anybody. They shouldn't have booked him on this card. The fact of the matter is, so Cole, now I've had my little rant. How do you think this fight plays out?
This one is the only one on the card where I haven't really made my mind up. I'm hoping Daniel Dubois absolutely destroys this guy once and for all, because it shouldn't be where he is anyway, but it'll be an even longer way back for him. He's bouncing around the hotel, calling it being a pantomime villain. Let's have it right. I'm a bit disappointed the way it's all been filmed as well, because clearly it's set up when him and Joshua are having chats in hotels and blah, blah, blah.
He's got his mate stood at the side of him, and as soon as he walks up to someone, this guy's already got his phone out filming.
Yeah. He isn't the most mobile. Look, you know what Miller's going to bring, don't you? It's gonna, if I was Dubois, I'd be on my toes and tie this guy out. I hope Dubois wins. I'm going to go Daniel Dubois around 11. I hope he makes this guy punch himself out and just takes him out late. That's what I'm going for.
What's your opinion on what I've just said as well, Carl?
Yeah, I think any drug cheat should be out of sport. I know he's failed too, but he's not the only one who's failed a drug test and come back and rebuilt the career. I think it should be zero tolerance, no questions asked, especially when the science is in favour in terms of testing that they are guilty. There's no place in the sport. We're not playing football. We're not playing tiddlywinks. We're playing boxing, the Earth game. And it's only a matter of time before someone dies in the ring and there's some controversy around it. So, yeah, I don't believe it should be anywhere near the fight game. I don't believe he should be getting paydays. But inevitably, he is, isn't he? He is, so there's no point crying over it, is he? So
you know what, though? He failed for 3 different drugs in the build-up to the Joshua fight. He's failed another test since then. You'd think he'd be a bit more humble. You'd think he'd be a little bit under the radar, trying to get his feet back in the sport. But no, he comes out with all these.
Tickets, that don't sell tickets. The way he is sells tickets because everyone wants to tune in to watch him get wiped out.
No one's buying this card to see him though, Carl. No, they might be buying it to see him get beat, but they're not buying it because he's on the card.
No such thing as bad PR, is there? Commercially, it's better for him to play the pantomime villain than come back and go, I'm sorry for what I've done. No one will buy that anyway. So
but at least try. At least be a bit humble, because he's not humble at all. The guy's a scumbag.
Is he the guy that he is in front of the camera? Probably not, if we're honest. Come on, let's be honest. They all put a persona on in front of the camera. There's other fighters where we've met them off camera and they're quite nice fellas, aren't they? Yeah, on camera, they can be a bit of a. I was going to swear them, but I won't. So he's playing the pantomime villain. He'll keep that role now for the rest of his career because it sells. So I don't believe he should be anywhere near boxing, but he is. So we are where we are.
Daz?
Yeah, I totally agree with what you said, mate. It shouldn't be nowhere near a boxing ring. But like Andy says, he's going to keep getting paydays because he talks. I alluded to this other day on Twitter. A lot of fighters are getting paydays and title shots because they talk. The best asset is they talk shit, and that's just state of boxing at minute. That's just how it is.
Daz, are you a believer that when somebody's been on drugs and they've enhanced the physique or they've made themselves stronger, if they come off that, are you a believer that they've still got an advantage?
You know what, mate? I don't really know. I would have thought my uneducated guess is, and I say uneducated. I mean, I've actually asked that question to a couple of competing bodybuilders who obviously do cycles.
Yeah,
who are going to remain nameless.
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
and I sort of asked that question in a different way. I actually remember saying that when you obviously go on a cycle and you're training harder and obviously your strength goes up and stuff, when you come off that cycle, do you lose any strength? And because of how the cycle's set out, this one said no, and the other guy who I asked, he sort of said, not really, nothing noticeable anyway. So I guess from that point of view, you might still have the benefits in your system, which is quite alarming, to be fair.
That's kind of what I was alluding to. I mean, obviously, he might be using a different type of enhancement that maybe gives him, even though he's such a big lad, maybe gives him a little bit better cardio, maybe makes him last a little bit longer.
I mean, it's all like, I mean, I obviously the difference what these guys said between what they use. Obviously, if they want to use them to look better and bigger, that's not nobody's.
They're not punching people for a living, are they?
The only person getting hurt, mate, is themselves.
Yeah.
And they've got a choice to do it. It's a bit different when you're getting a physical advantage of someone else who you're going to be punching in face.
Yeah.
Body.
Totally agree.
I believe that the stuff that they use, that some boxers are using and being caught with, are enabling him to recover quicker,
train harder.
Repair muscles faster. So probably what's happening is they're training really hard. And listen, every boxer knows, everyone who's boxed knows, when you go out on your run, right? You go out on your 4 mile run, your 3 mile run, your 4 mile run, your 5 mile run, whichever. When you get back from your run in the morning, you're dreading going to that gym at 3:30, 4 o'clock because your legs are knackered.
Yeah.
Or after sprint sessions, last thing you want to do is go and do what else. But yet these guys, obviously with their chemical assistance, they're probably going to sprint further, sprint faster, run further, run faster, and be totally refreshed as though they've not done that road work in the morning. So it's quite alarming, mate, that people are prepared to play with other people's lives just to listen. I know we allude back to it, but I saw a photo over there. A pal of mine shared a photo of Conor Benn after he fought Cedric Pinaud. I think I've got that right. Both his eyes were closed and everything. And my mate hit the nail on the head. He alluded to, listen, ignore the closed eyes and the bruises. Look at the composition of his face and his shoulders. And he's right. He looked like a little child. And then now he's you know, is like a monster. It just don't sit well with me. I mean, I'll be honest. If I had a fighter who lost to someone who then came out as they'd been on drugs, I think I'd get my license took off me. If I'm honest,
it should be a criminal offence, right? People should be getting locked up for stuff like that.
yeah. I mean, what happens if you know you put someone in a coma,
It's a matter
Well,
of
it should-
time, isn't it, Dad?
and then it comes out that you've been on steroids, anabolic steroids.
But surely does. It's intent, isn't it?
Well, you'd have thought so, mate. I mean, I know there were a story. You guys will probably know it. Louis Resto and Billy Collins. I think it were in 80s. Well, Louis Resto had his raps were done. Billy Collins was a prospect. Louis Resto had his hands wrapped by none other than Panama Lewis.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and basically, this is why Panama Lewis were banned. Basically, he did him like plaster of Paris.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it was like a cast, basically. So he put them on. Every time he hit Billy Collins, obviously, he either broke something or bruised something. Billy Collins, like, was a prospect. Both his eyes were closed. He was absolutely. He looked like he'd been in a car crash. And they stopped the fight. And Louis Resto came over to, say, good fight, well done. And Billy Collins' trainer was also his dad. He sort of like shook his hand through his glove and straight away alerted the ref, like somebody else, and just basic. And do you know what, mate? I'm not sure whether there was a problem with gloves padding as well. Do you know what I mean? I might have got that wrong with wraps. It might have been other way around. There might have been padding removed.
This is obviously before the days of having somebody in the changing room watching rapping, I'm guessing.
Yeah, I might have got it wrong. I'm just checking, Yeah, yeah, that's it. Yeah, I'm getting confused with my ogre. Basically, what they did is they took an ounce of padding out of the knuckles.
Wow.
So basically, I think I do believe that it come out that they didn't use a lot of knuckle padding as well, on the bandages. But yeah, they took over an ounce of padding out of the glove. So when he fell, he felt knuckle basically. So yeah, that was it. And they got banned for life. I believe they both got prison sentences as well.
And so they should. And the same goes for drug cheats basically.
Yeah, so what's the difference?
No, there's no difference.
What is the difference between that and injecting? Because it's intent, like you said, Andy. That's perfect word, mate. Because if I've got a fighter who I think they can't be, they're just going to go in and get an hiding to know, and then someone comes and says to me, "Listen, I can do this cycle of anabolic steroids, and I've got this masking agent. You'll go in there stronger, fitter, faster, bigger, everything, right? So the advantages that they've got of you are now leveled up, or you exceed them." And then if I say, yeah, well, I'm going in there knowingly putting the opponent's life at risk. Because what then goes from being, to me, when a lot of people think that you get injuries from fights in total mismatches, and I don't really think that's the case. I think total mismatches sometimes end. Yeah, sometimes they go on too long, but sometimes they end with a punch or a couple of shots and it's over. Whereas when you've got two evenly matched fighters, who won't give an inch, that's when that's when it starts to be a bit thingy. And then if one fighter's not on the level of the other, but then they're getting this, or two fighters are on the level, and then one fighter's getting this advantage.
Yeah,
that's when you're in dangerous territory.
Okay, prediction then for Dubois Miller. Daz?
I hope Daniel stops him around 8, round 8, I think.
I think Miller's nothing without being on drugs. He was nothing on drugs, so he's going to be even less. I think he gets stopped, and he gets stopped convincingly. I'm going round 5, Daniel Dubois. Oh,
Yeah, I'm going a bit later. I'm going round 10. I think they have a good look at each other for a good few rounds, and then Daniel will break them down.
okay. Moving swiftly on then to another heavyweight fight. Aslanbek Magmadov, I think that's how you pronounce it, against Ajit Kabayol. So these guys have both got perfect records. Magmadov is being tagged with this monster tag. Nobody seems to want to go near him. Are you buying into the hype?
No, I try not to buy into hype, mate. After Michael Grant, I bought into hype with Michael Grant, and so yeah, I tend not to do that with any fighter now. Let's see what he's like when you've got someone of similar stature and who wants to punch him back.
Yeah,
it's a bit stiff.
18-0, 17 KOs. The only fighter to take him to points was Carlos Takam, who's an absolute tough nut, as everybody knows, and that was last year, 2022. Kabayol is 23-0. There's no one on his record though. I mean, it seems he's been brought in as a punching bag, in my opinion. I mean, you can't read a lot into some records, can you?
No.
And I think this is the case here. Quick round robin, Cole. How do you see it going?
Yeah, Kabayol don't see round 6 for me. I think he'll get blasted out.
Daz?
Yeah, inside 4 for Magmadov, I think.
Yeah, I'm going early as well. Yeah, I think the same. I don't think he sees the 5th bell. Okay, on to another world beater that seems to be very early in the rankings with everybody and don't look like he's fought no one. Frank Sanchez. He's going in against another fighter that I don't really see how he gets on these cards, to be honest, and that's Junior Farr. He got absolutely laid out by a very out of shape Lucas Brown in a round not long back. He's also lost to Joe Parker.
He fought well against Parker, though. I'll give him that. He fought well.
Yeah, that was a long while. That was a fair while ago. But Joe Parker was probably too hyped as well, Carl, at the time.
Well,
probably wasn't the fight.
I think he was undermotivated because he had some big fights before Farr. And then back in New Zealand, I just think he thought, I'm going to walk through this guy.
Yeah, maybe. I'm not impressed with either of these fighters. I don't understand why Frank Sanchez is where he is in the rankings. Again, he's got an unbeaten record, but you look at his. No. This is a fight that I'm really not looking forward to. This is going to be an absolute ball fest. Yeah, this will get to points probably. I just Junior Farr's quite tough, but
I think Sanchez will stop him.
Maybe, mate. I'm certainly. I won't be paying much attention to these last 2 fights. I've got to be honest. And then we go on to the IBF mandatory. The outstanding, or everyone seems to think is outstanding, Filip Hrgović. Again, I'm not seeing it. I don't understand it. 16-0, 13 KOs. Was in with the world level fighter Dempsey McKean last time out.
He looks awful.
Dreadful, absolutely dreadful. He's looked dreadful in every fight apart from.
He got beat to Zhang and got the nod.
Yeah, that was another dreadful fight. I think both of them were poor on the night, and it was just a case of who was less poor. Zhang's gone on to prove himself, though, hasn't he? Obviously. But Ergovic, I don't see the hype. He's not big enough for me. He looks like a blown-up cruiserweight does. When he goes in with one of these massive fighters, he's gonna get found out. And he's going in against the outstanding Mark Demori.
Yeah,
What a fighter!
What a fighter! What a legend! 41 wins and 36 KOs. Must have dynamite in his hands, does.
Matchmaker's got this one out of a kinder egg, hasn't he?
Oh my god!
Yeah, this isn't great.
How does this guy keep getting fights on massive cards like this?
I don't know, mate. I've no idea. No idea.
All in all, Carl, give me your overview. Give me your overview of the card in general. What do you think about it?
I think it's a very good card. I wouldn't say there's too many 50-50s on there. Let's have it right. But there's some good fights. I think the budget might have been running out towards the Ergovic fight and the Frank Sanchez fight. Let's be honest.
You think?
I think they might have been going to pound shop at that stage rather than Harrods. But no, I think it's a solid card. It whets the appetite of just where this Saudi money can stretch to be honest.
Yeah.
But I think it's a dark day for British boxing in some extent because I worry about what fights we're going to get live in the UK moving forward. That's my only concern. But, you know, the prize fighters, if someone offered you 100 quid to fight or $5 grand to fight, you're going to take the $5 grand, aren't you? So, yeah, very good card. Good night entertainment, 23rd of December, you know, something to watch before the in-laws get here. So all's good in the world.
The thing that worries me, the thing that worries me, Carl, is are we spoiling these heavyweight fighters? Are we spoiling the likes of Joshua and Wilder and Fury because they're getting these absolutely massive they're getting these absolutely massive paydays. I don't know what they're on for this fight, probably about 40 million, 50 million each, something crazy. So they're getting these gigantic paydays and they get them consistently when they fight in Saudi Arabia. But then the Saudi money, for whatever reason, at certain times of the year dries up and you can't make a fight then because they all want too much money. They all believe that they deserve to have this massive amount of money every single fight against no matter who they're fighting. And that obviously holds up the division. And if you start...
The Saudis aren't stupid though, Andy, so I still think they're only going to pay top dollar for the high echelons of boxing fighting each other. So it's going to get us the best fight in the best. That's where I'm compromised because to get the best fight in the best, you've got to pay a lot of pound notes.
Yeah, see,
they can afford that. Let's be honest.
I'm not convinced, Carl, though. I'm not convinced that it will stay like that. I think they'll start paying stupid money to average fights because they want to monopolise, Carl. They want to take it away from Vegas. They want to take it away from Wembley.
The only thing I can see happening is Vegas are going to have to up their game in terms of what they're paying. I don't think Vegas are going to allow Saudis to have the monopoly on this. So I think I don't like the way it's a race to the top. Don't get me wrong, but I think it's the best chance we've got of seeing the best fight in the best with Saudi Arabia now being in boxing.
It's the best chance we've got of seeing cross promotion, clearly, because this would have never have happened in the UK.
No,
and it's only happening because of the money. Let's be right. Frank Warren can gloss it up, shine it up as much as he likes, saying they're doing this for the fans. No, they're not. They're doing this because it's making them loads of money. If they're doing it for the fans, there's millions of fights that can be made, like heavyweight, cruiserweight, welterweight. There's millions of fights that could be made, that could have been made over the years, and they've never done it. The best will be the best. They've never done it. All of a sudden, this money comes into the sport, and now they're doing it. Now they're best mates, and they're happy to sit at the same table. And
they will start working their way down the divisions. Definitely.
Don't get me. That sounds like I'm bashing them. I'm not, in the sense that I'm glad the fights are happening. But don't try and make out it's something it's not. Don't try and pretend you're doing it for the fans. You're not doing it for the fans.
I don't think Eddie Hearn does. I think Eddie Hearn tells it how it is. You know, money. I've never heard him say anything about it's for the fans.
I've not heard anyone say that, but Frank Warren has. Yeah, I mean, obviously he's he's angling it in. He's trying to sell the promotion. He's going to say certain things, but don't think we're stupid. Don't think fans are stupid. We're not.
What's interesting now is on TNT, it's on DAZN, it's on ESPN in America. So they're all getting the pound of flesh.
They're all getting the share, aren't they, mate? And there's lots of money to go around, so they're all happy with the share. Yeah, I think, regards Vegas, you're always going to get the big American names, the welterweight division, the lightweight division. They're all the big American names are already getting massive money, mate. So then less likely to be enticed to Saudi Arabia because they don't need to be. They're quite happy fighting. They're quite happy fighting in front of 15, 20,000 people in Vegas because they're still getting massive money.
I think they can get even more money inside though, can't they?
Yeah, but do they need it when they're fighting nobody and getting massive paydays?
I don't think they'll ever turn it down. I think that's just the way boxers are in terms of pride fighters. Devin Haney will be the next one that goes over to Saudi. Mark my words. Him versus Tank will be in Saudi Arabia. Is my prediction.
Yeah, so, I'm not convinced. You might be right, mate. I'm not convinced. I just think that the pot's big enough in America. The broadcasters are big enough in America and the amount of people that watch it are big enough.
No, they're not getting the Crawfords of this world. They're not getting them really fighting the best, are they?
Well, yeah. He's just fought the second best in his division.
But I'm talking about it over the course of time. How long did that take to get in the ring? How many fights have we missed out on?
Yeah. Well, that's because, but that's for the reason I've just said. They're getting paid stupid amounts of money for fighting nobody. So why would they fight the best for the same money?
I think you'll find that the Saudis will put that much money up for them to jump who they perceive as the best fight and the best that the Americans will start going over.
Maybe, mate. But you know what America are like? They want to believe that they're the best. They want to believe that no one can do it better. American promoters are less likely to jump on that gravy train.
But also, the Americans can't stand to think that somebody else is earning more money than they are. Also, remember, there's a lot of ego.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. That's why they won't want it to go from Vegas. They want everyone to still think that Vegas is the best.
They won't want other fighters earning more money in Saudi than they are in America, is my point.
They can't match it though, can they? But what they can do is they can keep their little bubble of America. They can keep nice and neat and tight.
My prediction is that Devin Haney will go over to Saudi and he'll fight Tank Davis. And that would be a fight that anywhere in America would want, right?
Of course, that's what they want. Yeah.
So if that lands in Saudi, there's a shift then. There's a shift.
Yes, yeah, I agree. If it does, but I don't think it will.
Let's see.
Daz, you've seen two different arguments there from me and Cole. Where do you sit on it?
I mean, there is the fact that can the Americans compete with the Saudi money? I'd say to that, it all depends who the Americans get involved.
Right.
You know, you obviously Saudi, you know, is a lot of money there floating around. Then you've got, you know, if you look at America, you've got, you know, your oil barons, etc., etc. I don't know, mate. It's like it's going to be an interesting dynamic in it. Who gets what fights? But listen, as long as we as fans get to see these fights,
yeah,
we win, don't we?
Yeah.
You know, I'd watch Haney v Tank on my backyard if I'm honest.
Yeah. The overriding thing is we're getting the fights. You know, we can complain about them being over there and the amount of money these fighters are getting, and then they won't fight in the UK because they're not getting enough money. Blah blah blah. But at the end of the day, they're being made, and as long as off the back of this card, we get to see Joshua and Wilder next. If that's over there, fine. But if we get to see it, then this card's been worth it. If we don't get to see that fight, and them two don't fight because ego and promotions don't want it, and blah blah blah, then this card's been a complete waste of time.
Yeah.
Because that's the only reason this card is being built the way it's being built.
If the Saudis want it, it'll happen. They won't allow politics to get in the way. This card's proved that.
Yeah, no, you're right. But it's not. It might not be about if the Saudis want it. It might be about if the fighters want it.
But the money over there, Andy, so they'll want it.
Well, let's see. But like I was saying, that's the only point of this card is because it's building that. That's why they've got the 2 fighters on, and against winnable fights, but obviously still dangerous. Yeah, let's hope so, mate. That has to be what happens, and then surely the winner of that gets the winner of Fury Usyk.
You'd think so.
Hopefully.
Right. Cole, anything else you want to add before we call it a night on the show?
No, nothing from me. Obviously, we will probably look to go live on Saturday after the card. It shouldn't be too late, with it being Saudi time. So keep a watch out for us going live. Feel free to come on and give your views post-event. Do you want me to see that, Andy?
Guys, anything you want to bring in before we go?
No, mate. No, that's it. I've got a nice night shift to get ready for now.
Oh, lovely.
Living the dream.
I know. So, right, I'm going to shoot, lads, and I'll...
All right. Cheers, Dad.
Speak to you soon.
Great seeing you again, mate.
You too,
Have a
mate.
good Christmas, pal.
You too, lads. Ta.
Cheers. So we'll put comments on social media regarding what time we're going live, but normally it's after the promoters giving their views in the ring. Interviews the word I'm looking for. We normally jump on live, but if you like and comment on the channel, you'll get notifications. Thank you for all the comments on the side. Thank you for all the Instagram followers that have joined for the first time tonight. Much appreciated. This has been Last Ball Boxing, proudly sponsored by LW Lifting Limited and SC Travel. We'll see you Saturday night. And Merry Christmas.